Good morning, everybody. Money Monday. This is Jake Schofield with you with Schofield Welding. Guys, I've been sitting here racking my brain trying to figure out what to talk about. And one of the things that I keep coming back to is never giving up. I know it's so easy to talk about. From somebody that is already doing it, to you guys, it's like, well, that's easy to say, you know. Never give up. Guys, no matter what you do, I get messages all the time about people that are like, man, dude, it's so freaking tough. It's so hard to get involved. It's so hard to do this, so hard to do that. Probably one of the biggest things that I've come to find out is it's hard for everybody, okay? The people that make it successful, the people that are doing what you want to do, the only difference between them and you was they never gave up. The only difference between you and them is they found a path on how to get there and they just kept freaking going, okay? I can promise you there are days, and I know when I first started, let me tell you how I first started into this deal. Into the welding end of it, all right? I was on my third helper job, and I remember driving a trailer to Douglas, Wyoming, and I was up there as a helper. And I remember I had no money for electrical or like a campground or anything like that. I had no money for it. And so I wound up making a deal with the super that I could stay in the yard in my trailer. Well, in my parents' trailer, because it wasn't mine. But I remember staying in the yard, and it's snowing and it's freaking cold. And I think what it was our Heavenly Father was telling me, he's like, I'm gonna make this as miserable as I can so that you go home and you go practice. and it came into my mind like that, just right now. It just came into my mind. I just remember how cold I was. I remember writing hot checks to the Maverick, which I do not recommend at all. All right, do not do that. They don't accept checks anymore for people because of people like me. All right, I did always take care of it. It was just I was always behind on money. I was not smart with my money. I was not an intelligent person that way back then. Now I am. I've gone through enough things that I'm like, dude, money's put back. We're putting money back all the time. But guys, this is just telling you where I came from. So I remember sitting out in that yard, and I remember I would order 2 pizzas, and I would make those 2 pizzas last all week. Okay? I remember I had no propane. I had nothing, so I would sleep in a negative 35-degree sleeping bag, which is the elk hunter from Sportsman's. Okay, some of you guys probably use those bags. I swear by those bags, and I have tested those bags a lot. But I remember sleeping in that trailer, and it's snowing, and it's windy, and it was miserable. And I remember 2 weeks into this thing, I basically called, I'm trying to remember that old boy's name. I think it was CD or CJ or something like that. Anyways, I remember just calling him, and I was like, dude, I'm going to be honest with you, I'm done. And I was only 2 weeks into this job. I just hired on. I said, I'm going to go home, and I'm going to go learn how to weld. And he was like, dude, power to you. He says, go do it. And so I remember hooking onto that trailer, dragging it all the way home. Hadn't even gotten a check yet, so the check was coming. I had like 4 hot checks out there just trying to get enough fuel to get to work and back. And the whole 2 weeks I was out there, that check I made went right to those checks that I'd wrote, and I basically broke even coming out of that deal. But I think what happened is it was miserable enough for me, and I was in such a tight spot, and I was so sick of it. And I think you got to get to that point where you're just so sick of being in a situation, and you are just so freaking tired of not having money, and you're tired of freaking just showing up to work, and it's just tough. I think things have got to get to the point of where you are just so tired of it that you have to make a change, that you have to change, okay? Nothing else changes. Nothing changes except you to better yourself. And I remember going home, and it was wintertime, and I had scrounged up every piece of pipe I could find. I had gone to the 2 weld supplies, which I don't recommend doing this either, but this is how I did it. And I went and set up $1,000 accounts with both of them. And between those 2, I was able to get rod, bottles, and it was enough to practice for the next 3 months. And I tell you what, it was the most stressful, miserable time ever. I remember, thank goodness for my mother. My mother was a dental hygienist, and she worked with a lady that her husband was a welder. Now, a lot of my buddies actually know Marty Wilson. Now, a lot of you guys, or a lot of my buddies actually know Marty Wilson. And he's actually got a YouTube channel as well. But Marty, my mom got me in contact with Marty. Now, Marty was a welder at Pacific Steel back home, but he's actually an Alaskan welder. By trade, he would go up there for BP and weld for them. 2 weeks on or 2 weeks off or something like that. Anyways, he was up there all the time. But I happened to get him when he was home. And I remember he invited us over and he helped me. He helped me so much, okay? He helped me figure out how to run a root in, helped me kind of learn how to hot pass and whatever else. And then I took that knowledge and I went and practiced every freaking day. Out in the snow, out in the wind. I had no idea what I was freaking doing. I was just striking rod and trying to figure it out. Okay. In that amount of time, you have no idea how many times I wanted to quit. How many times that it crossed my mind that I was just like, man, I'm done. I don't freaking want to do this anymore. And thank goodness that I never did. Otherwise, I would not be here being able to tell you guys these situations, all right? I had somebody that got on here and he's like, the motivational speeches are all good and blah, 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 and whatever else. Guys, these aren't really motivational speeches. These are life lessons that I've learned. These are things that I've actually been through. These are things that have actually helped me out in my life and things that I hope that are going to help you out in your life, all right? I don't give motivational speeches. I give you life lessons out of what I do every day. And I just seriously remember how miserable it was to just sit out there in the snow and weld. And then how unsure and how unconfident, I guess I was, to drive that trailer 10 hours or 11 hours over to Greeley, Colorado and go take my first weld test. And I remember the freaking devastating blow of busting that first weld test. I busted that first weld test in 30 minutes. 20, 30 minutes, all right? Because it took me that long just to put a root in for him to even come over and look at it, all right? I destroyed that test. And I remember the blow that it took. And then I remember old Bob. And I don't know if some of you guys will remember me talking about Bob, but he come over and he talked that in. And just how grateful I was to be there to retake that test. Coming down here to Greeley, and I had to make a deal with the campground lady, which I freaking love Mary. She's an amazing person. She probably doesn't even realize how much she actually helped me, all right? But she let me come down here, and I said, listen, I ain't even got enough money to pay you for a campground spot. Is there any way I can stay here for like 2 nights? I got a test tomorrow, and I can pay you as soon as I get my first paycheck. And she agreed to it. And she don't even know how much she helped me. But guys, you cannot give up. You just can't. Things are going to get hard. Things are going to get so freaking tough. I promise. It's going to get tough. Anything worth doing is super freaking hard. All right? I don't know. That's Money Monday for today. It is never giving up. The people that make it never give up. So everybody have a great rest of your Money Monday. Be blessed. I hope this helped you. I know a bunch of you guys are going through some tough things. I know getting out here or even doing whatever you want to get involved in is going to be tough. And so I hope that what I was able to share with you guys in this last 6 minutes is going to help you in your life. Be blessed. Like, subscribe, comment, and we'll talk to you later. See you.